Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. Well, I did get kind of a hard out there. I went a lot faster than I wanted to. But no, super excited this morning to have our special guest, Mr. Jason Kaleta, on this morning. How are you, my man?
Yeah, doing really good.
Yeah, that's our studio audience.
Thank you.
Say hello to the people in the crowd.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
I always joke that's our COVID studio audience.
That's a good way to put it.
But Jason Kaleta from Hill Mortgage out here joining me this morning, and I'm super excited to have you on this morning, man. Like, we've gotten a chance to hang out a lot, but not do this, right?
No, it's our first time. Yeah, I really appreciate it. It's my first really professional podcast here.
Yeah,
it's nice setup.
We try to keep it professional. I don't, there's dicey moments to all this stuff. So
we keep trying.
Yeah, exactly. So about yourself, man. Like, how long you been in the business? Like, and how did where did mortgage come from? Like, nobody planned on this business.
Nobody planned on the business. Yeah, it is. So 21 years, over 21 years, March 31st, 2003. Remember my first day. Really just a bunch of my friends were doing it. It was a subprime days. So those were the days where you just started.
Yeah.
A bunch of my friends were doing it, and I got into it and just honestly just fell in love with it. Everything from just that first time get somebody to a home and seeing the real excitement to the schedule, the meeting the new people, and it's it really worked and really clicked, and it's been over 20 years now.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Time flies
For sure. Man, for sure.
Yeah, time flies, and so all the news recently, all the changes, right? And briefly for a minute there offside there, we were talking about these changes, and there's been a ton of changes in the industry in 20 years. I mean,
and they're just in it. What we're going through now. It's first it's panic, and it just seems to I don't want to say even but it works out. Everything's put into place. I mean, we talked a little bit about the TRID stuff. Whatever that was 12 years ago, it was like, man, this is going to cripple us, and it made the industry better. If it didn't, we weren't putting square pegs in round holes anymore.
Right.
So it's just like, if it fits, it fits. These things are in guidelines, and it honestly made us, I think it made the industry better. But there was, I don't know, 6 months there where we were panicking.
Yeah.
And everything worked out, and for the better, honestly.
Yeah. I think that's a thing too. I think people have to realize, like, change is inevitable, right? Things are going to change. Things are going to move. It's how you get along with it. Now Hill Mortgage. How long has Hill Mortgage been around? And give us a backstory on that.
Yeah, for sure. So I was again, I started 21 years ago. I remember Countrywide. Started at Countrywide. Countrywide moved one place, moved to Chase, then moved one more place, Home Point, which recently transitioned to a wholesale or sold off, but got laid off spring of, it was actually Memorial Weekend. They broke the news to us that they were laying off the retail side at Home Point. I was at Home Point at that point. I thought, I started took some interviews, and a good friend of mine, Chris Cooper, Zeppelin Cleaning, we were talking. He said, hey, listen, we're renting our space. The owners of the building are entrepreneurs. You should talk to them about starting your own mortgage brokerage. I never even thought about it at that point. So I had a conversation. I got two great partners, Dane and Brendan Fossey, are amazing guys. We had a couple of conversations, said, hey, let's do this. And 6 months later, we were up and running as Hill Mortgage, our own brokerage, and it's going on 6 years. December 1st will be 6 years for us. So we've grown to 10. We have 10 of us now, full-time processing, and we are rocking and rolling, loving every day.
Yeah,
it is. It's but without that conversation, and without again somebody who I met, we just talked about getting just talking to people, and I would have never even thought about it. And it was right under my nose. It was a space I was renting from the partners that owned the building, and hit the track running.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Yeah. Well, there'll be some similar stories that come out about me in a little while.
I can't wait. That's what I signed up for.
Right. So yeah, man, I think, the thing is about our business, and it's a relationship business. Now, not only a relationship with our clients, right? Because that's where the basis of first of all, that's where we need the money comes from, right? Is our clients. For sure. And then our relationships with mortgage guys and our relationships with realtors. So for you, what's it like? And I know you do the big golf outing every year. You do a ton of stuff with realtors. What's been the most interesting thing you've gotten about getting together with realtors?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I think sometimes I surprise myself, and still doing this 21 years, I still get nervous to talk to some people. And then I guess just how, for the most part, how nice everybody is and how willing to help, whether they're $100 million producer or just starting out, willing to help and listen and ask advice. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I forget, like, I've been doing it 21 years.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I could talk to anybody, and it's just I always tell her, my guys, but my team is make a friend on the phone.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Just listen and just and just try to, what their concerns are, meaning the buyers or the agents or whatever the case is, and and just try to help it any way you can. So I guess to answer your question, I know it sounds so cheesy, but how nice people are.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
We think it's like, dog eat dog, like, oh, I can't hang out with that lender because I'm a lender, and and it's really not,
Yeah.
And that took me a while too. It's probably only been the past 6-8 years that I've because I used to be one of the guys like, oh, he works for so and so bank. I don't need to talk to him, but it's dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they did just tell me that you got to stay closer to your mic.
Oh, okay. There we go. I'm trying to talk to you, and
I know.
Thank you guys. Thanks, team.
Yeah, this is what happens. I get text messages and they're like, "Hey, this thing happens," or I always know when I do something wrong.
Yeah.
No one ever says when I do anything right.
No, you look great, man. You look great today. Your hair looks good.
Thanks,
none of that stuff.
Whatever's left. Yeah, whatever's left. But I think you're right. I think, and do you think the new brokerage stuff, like, there's more brokers, like mortgage brokers now than there have been. Do you think that has something to do with like the not non-competitiveness, because there's competitiveness,
For
right?
sure.
But that more of like an openness of like, how can we work together?
Yeah, I think so. And obviously I'm biased. We've heard the saying down the street, brokers are better. And I truly believe that. But yeah, it's a great question, because it is. All right. Well, for so many years, I've had to, all I had to worry about was bringing deals in. Now I have to do these other things to brand. Before I was branding a different company.
Yeah.
Mortgage. So it's learning, I'm already going to give him a shout out. We talked about Dante Rosa earlier. Dante was a huge help with me starting out. Was like, hey, he was about 6-8 months ahead of me of just do what you're doing, but just add this to it or add that to it. So yeah, I think I think this says 27% share of brokers, broker closed loans now across the country. It's growing. And I think that's a great question, because I think it is huge. And it's more of like, okay, well, these are, I'm saying startups, but let's start it up, and I don't have to do it this way. Oh, that didn't work for me here. So I can kind of turn it this way, or do whatever the case is, do it on my own, the way that I like to do it. So I think that's giving people more confidence to do the other things. Go out, talk to the agents, go out and ask for an open house, or go out and do, whereas, some of the other places you were stuck in an office from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So you didn't have the chance to go out and meet new people. So yeah, I think that's a great. And
I talked to another mortgage broker not too long ago, and he said the same thing. He's like, if I'm in my office all day, my business won't run.
100%.
He's like, if I just sit in my office all day, it doesn't work.
100%. And I get that way too. So for me personally, I try to, Thursdays are my day. So Thursdays I try to book coffee or lunch, whatever the case is. There are, obviously, different days, but I try to focus. For me, that works the best. I try to focus one day to get out scheduled networking. But before I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
10 years ago. So,
and that's a great point you brought up. It's talking about scheduling. So you schedule a whole day for just like your networking day.
Yeah. So, and I do not want it to come across like I'm the most organized person, because I'm not. Wow. But Thursdays I try to, and then sometimes things get in the way. But yeah, that's the, whatever, 8 a.m. coffee, and then try to do a lunch or whatever the case is, and try to spread it out a little bit.
Now, do you spend that time? Do you spend that time with clients, or do you spend that time with realtors, or do you is it like kind of
mostly real estate agents? Yeah.
Okay.
Try to get referral, referral source. Somebody I'm already working with, or somebody new, to be honest. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that is a big takeaway for everybody too, is because I talk about this with realtors all the time, is getting partners, right? And whether that's a contractor, a plumber, an electrician, like. Because our clients think we know everybody.
Yep. No, it's great. And you saw at our golf outing. That's how we do it. In insurance, we got a roof, we got siding, we got I want to be that person. Like, and I don't, if somebody says, hey, you got a siding guy? Yeah, I got a siding guy.
Yeah.
An insurance guy. Insurance is the biggest one. I got a couple insurance, but we want to be, a good source for everything.
Sure. Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
it's
and like, let's be honest, like it's like, with realtors, with mortgage guys, like if you don't have a couple, right? Like you should be able to give your clients, a couple
for sure. Each way.
choices,
Yeah, no,
right?
yeah, definitely. And it's, again, insurance is the
Not that
most
anybody wants to be shopped, but
right, right. But it's the first, for us, I mean, kind of get too transactional, but for us, and insurance is the biggest thing for me. So I have a couple that I refer out, and
Yeah.
I ask of what I promise. If you can bid or not, just call them. Call the client. Hey, this is what I got. All right, sorry it didn't work out, but at least the client come back to me and say, hey, you sent this insurance agent to me. They were on it. They called me. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I got a better deal somewhere else. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah.
Same with us, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, how do you say that? I get what you ask what you promise.
ask what I promise you.
Yeah.
What I promised to me. So if you're, Mr. Jimmy Nelson real estate agent, hey, tell me a client, I promise you they're going to get a phone call back from me.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to answer the phone. Same thing with my referrals, I guess. And I just made that up, by the way.
Huh?
You guys can use that.
So now listen. So listen. So one of the things that gets brought up on this show a lot is I keep coming up with these T-shirt ideas, right? Like, and when this thing bounced, I ask what I promise, right?
Yeah.
I promise what I ask. We'll have to go back and
We'll
listen to the
look
recording.
at it.
Yeah, we'll have to go listen to the recording. But I think
somebody send it to us.
that's another T-shirt, right?
Yeah. But it makes sense. And it's and with this business, I always say the real estate agents had the fun part.
Yeah.
We're going to show houses. Oh, we get to see the pool, and then they call us and they're like, "What? We have to pay for that?"
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this is what it's at. This is what we can do. So it's the conversation on our end sometimes is, I'm going to say 1 out of 10. They're like, what? The house payment's that? And I'm like, well, you're looking at a $350,000 house. What did you think? What did you think it was going to be? Well,
I wanted my payment to be around $1,000.
right. Well, I looked on so-and-so big name website and they said their estimated payment's only this. I said, well, you're going to have to include your tax and insurance.
Yeah.
Right. But also that's the fun part of it too. And a lot of those clients turn to be repeat clients because we handheld,
right.
Lack of a better term, walked them through those steps. Like, hey, remember the first conversation we had? You were in shell shock. Now that we explain this, and this is why we don't use 100% of your income. This is why we only use 43% or, whatever the case is. So you have room for groceries and gas and, and those types of things.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And again, I'm going to put this out for everybody. So we talked about T-shirts, but guys, listen, I told Jason this yesterday when we were on the phone. Like, look, guys, listen, when you come on the show, like, bring me stuff. Look at this.
Look at that branding.
Look at that branding, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, but then I got another one, right? And then the entrepreneur spirit runs in the family. So his son has it's the basement.
Yep, the basement. Yep,
the basement and vintage T-shirts and sweatshirts. But look at this hoodie, guys.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to be on the Elite Podcast, like, you got to bring me some swag.
Right. And they just give him a shout out. So yeah, he started that. I told him, I mentioned something if it was okay. Yeah, he started this in our basement, 10th grade, 8 years ago, just doing a couple of T-shirts, and now it's just kind of still kind of a side thing, but he's doing a show. He's down at Easter Market this weekend. He's tomorrow, 5 o'clock. They do a bunch of they call them pop-ups. They bring a 10 by 10 tent. Everybody's got something different. A lot of it is sports related, jerseys, stuff like that. But there are some people that do actual vintage, like 50s clothes. So it's crazy. Some of those shirts are like $600. Like, remember like the old bad boys? Those go for like $250. The original ones.
I'm gonna dig through my closet, man.
Yeah, for sure. He'll sell it. Right. He'll cut you in.
Yeah.
He'll cut you in. But so the basement. Yeah. He's on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff.
Yeah. So, and what is it? It's the basement. DE.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So nice. I messed up.
Yeah.
Jimmy told him bring him a medium. Obviously, I brought a 2X. So
yeah. I'll sleep in it.
Yeah. Use it as your blanket.
Yeah. Look at this. That is cool, man. Yeah. So the entrepreneurship runs in the family.
Yeah, and he's got he's really good with he's like his dad. He can talk to anybody. He's really good with talking to people and not being afraid to go, just to say hi to somebody. So
Yeah.
it works out for him.
Yeah. So I have two boys, and 20 and 13 are my boys.
Yep.
And apparently, according to my wife, my 13-year-old is just like me.
That's good.
I don't know. The way she said it, it didn't sound good. Yeah, it didn't sound good the way she said it.
It was one of those, oh, you're just like your dad,
Yeah,
type of thing.
Yeah. Like,
I'm going to take it.
Yeah. She said, he's going to drive me crazy. I said, why? She said, because he's just like you. And I'm like, is that good or bad? Like, I thought it was good. And then
I'll go with glass half full on that one.
Yeah, I'm like, but no, man, no, like it's cool stuff, right? Like, and that's one of the things I think has changed about like our society in general, right? Like, you can do, like you said, growing up, I never knew I could do stuff, right? I never knew I could start a business. I never knew, my dad growing up just did the best he could, worked in a factory, lost his job, got another factory, just did his best he could, right?
Yeah.
I never knew, just like you said, like you started a mortgage company.
Yeah. And I was, how old am I now? So I was 42, 42, 43 at that point. And I still didn't know. I just always worked for somebody. And it got to the point where it's like, talking with them was like, the company I was with wasn't giving me leads. Every leads I was getting something, wait a second, all this stuff I'm bringing, they're making,
sure,
they pay my rent, they pay, all that stuff, but it's like, well, I can do all that, so as far as a business, nothing for me, that part hasn't changed. I'm still going out to get it. It's just now the other stuff, the payroll, those types of things change, which, again, I got my partners and that all works out. It like it can be more happy, but to go back to that, we didn't. And I think social media is big with that too. I was just like, I'm not what I'm gonna. I'll work at here forever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Check cashes every 2 weeks, so now it's the good and the bad with social media is you see other people doing it, so it makes it believable. Oh, man, they're doing it, I can do it. And now I wish I could rewind 20 years and focus more on it.
Right,
right. A little late to the game, but what can you do?
Yeah. And what was it? What was it like? Because it's for a lot of us, right? Like in our industry, whether it's mortgage or real estate, either one, it's taken that leap, right? And that leap of like, I'm just going to do it, And
that's exactly what it is. And we talked to, to get some of the young people, because I've talked to some young people there. That's the big is just do it, and it is, listen, you can, and that it's kind of hard to sell that. Like I don't want to sound salesy, but you can make the most of this. Like you can make $1,000 a year, or you can make $100,000 a year. It is literally up to how much you put into it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're at a company and they're just offering more overtime, you didn't do anything for the overtime. You were just available to work there for the overtime.
Right.
This one, you can, if you want to work the open houses, or if you just want to strictly do social media, however you want to frame it, however you want to do it, it is literally your mold or your sculpture, however, So, and some real estate agents, some lenders are just sit and answer a phone, which is great. That works great for it too. Some of them are 100% out there to do it, whatever fits everybody. Not all people are like this, Now people like to tell not all those people are smart.
But we're too much for some people.
Right. I see people dropping off already.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're too much for some people.
But again, it's kind of tie that one up. It's literally what you make of it.
Yeah,
it's literally how. You want to work 20 hours a week and you're good with making that much at 20 hours a week, then do that.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a very good point. And I watch a lot of Gary V stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Gary V brought this up not too long ago. But he was like, and be happy with that.
Yeah.
Like if you're happy and you're living your life and you are happy with where you're at and what you're doing and how you're doing it, like just stay there.
For sure. 100%.
Don't kill yourself just to be upset.
Exactly.
Just
like I said earlier, like same thing with my parents. Work. They didn't, and that was coming from, that's how it was. It was like, graduate high school, went to the military, or you went to work, right? So, and we didn't know that, and now passing it on to ours, and our kids' sphere or whatever. It's like, okay, well, This guy is selling T-shirts and killing it. This guy is a pharmacist. It's like those two different. Where when we were younger, everybody was pretty much doing the same 10 jobs. It seemed. You know, like it's
you were going to be a teacher. Or you're going to work in a factory, right? Like there was like 5 things. Like you could be a plumber.
For sure.
Like there was like,
and those are all great jobs. But there's just more opportunities.
Yeah.
It seems like it anyways. More opportunities now. I mean, people making money on the internet just doing dance moves.
Right.
Which is, by the way, stay tuned. That's hour 2.
Hour 2. Yeah, we're gonna do some dance moves with hour 2.
Hour 2.
Yeah, hour 2 is gonna be straight dance moves. It's just gonna be TikTok for an hour.
Funny.
Oh man, but no, I think you're right. I think in the entrepreneurial spirit, I think, and again, we caution this too. We talked a little bit before. It's not for everybody. Right. Yeah. This isn't for everyone. Some people need a job.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. No shade. It is what it is. For right. Sure. Like, typically we were the kids that talked too much in class and, like we're the social butterflies that, weren't going to make it
100%.
I jokingly said to somebody the other day, like I almost joined the Navy, like right out of high school. Mm-hmm. And I was down to I just had to go do the thing. Like I was down to the whole, I was good. Like I was done. And my mom talked me out of it.
Wow.
But now that was also like 1991. So it was like the Gulf War was going on.
Yeah.
So my mom was a little freaked out that I was like, but I'm like, what else am I going to do? Right. You know what I mean? Like, so I did get the factory job right away.
Yeah. And for me, same. So we're about the same age. So I graduated high school in 93 and I didn't have a plan from 93 to started this in 03. I probably worked, I don't even know, 10 different jobs. I worked in a foundry. I did cable, and Taco Bell. I worked at Taco Bell. Taco Bell was my high school job. I actually worked there a few years after, like through high school. Foundry job. That was a tough job. If you don't know what a foundry is,
it's
where
hot.
They melt metal.
Yeah.
And they make,
That's where all the fire and the flames and the brimstone and all.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Similar. I was at a heat treat factory.
Oh, you lose a lot of weight.
Yeah, shoveling 1,200 degree sand back into a furnace.
For sure. Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah. I had the molds. My job was to break the mold off the. Yeah. Ooh, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's not fun. But it is. But it also, it sounds so crazy. But I learned early on that that's not for me. And I had to be there at like 5 a.m. I was 22.
Yeah, but you get out at 2.
22. Yeah, right. Yeah. Did tires. I did tires for a lot of years. But that for me, I realized that's not for me. Like I don't, which is not. Those are all great jobs. Those are all. If you're working, you're working. But that wasn't my gig.
Yeah. No, and I think it's funny too. Like for the most part, when I talk to mortgage guys or real estate people, it's like it finds us.
Yeah.
Somehow, you know what I mean? Like this found us, and it's like, oh, this is, man, I should have known this a long time ago.
Yeah.
But then I always still say, I wouldn't have known how to do this without doing all those other things I did before.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. It's like I'm going to try to use not like a resume, but it was just kind of like picking through. Okay. I don't like that. I don't like that. Just kind of steps of like, I think for me now I look back, I was like maybe hoping that something would click. And again, it goes back to like, well, all my friends are doing they work in a shop or their parents work in a shop. Yeah. So that's what we're meant to do. And then after I was like, nah, I don't, this isn't for me. And I don't know if I would be in mortgages if there was already 3 or 4 guys that I knew that were doing it, I don't know if I would have been, I never, like you said earlier, I didn't grow up wanting to write loans. So I write mortgages, but you guys were doing it. Wanted to show me a paycheck. And I was like, oh man, it was like $2,200. And I was like, that you made that? He was like, that was one commission. I was like, holy cow, So, and then just kind of went from there.
Yeah. Like Wolf of Wall Street, right? When he goes, if you show me that check right now, I'll quit my job right now.
I'm going to work no more. Right, yeah. That was it. I was I was married March 14th, 2003, and started mortgages March 31st, 2003. It was opening day. I'll never forget. It was Tiger opening day. I showed up to the office. It was me and 2 other new people, and the rest of the office left and went to Tiger game. It was like a boiler room setup. They were like, "Here's a script. Go in there and practice script for 8 hours." And we're just reading it to each other. So got me started, got me going. Those are some good times. Great friends. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that part of the business, right? Like the fundamentals are still the same. Like it's not so much boiler room anymore. Of course,
For sure. For sure.
Yesterday the team we did some things yesterday where we were all dialing. Like we just
Yeah.
standing down, we all just did it. Like
sure.
and it was just cool, getting a lot of energy, getting stuff moving. So kind of reminded me of like some old days.
100%. Yeah. And so on my side of that, the boiler room part of the cold is to real estate agents. So we're not calling clients direct to try to get them to buy a house. It's calling the agent, say, whatever the case, we closed this deal two weeks ago. Just wanted to follow up. Whatever the call is, I try to call my listing agent on the other side. Whatever it is, and but it's not more of a boiler room for you young kids. Watch the movie Boiler Room.
Watch the movie Boiler Room.
It was basically those were the old days of sales where you just kind of bully people, and I don't know if it's not the right word.
Climb the yes ladder.
Yeah, right, exactly.
ABC always be closing.
Right, yeah, yeah. So it's a real big reason why Trick was put into.
Yeah. Yeah, that and it's again, and then like that's how we just burnt everybody out too, right?
Yeah, and it was stressful back then.
Yeah,
it was
so everybody was just smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, and dialing, and
and it was and we were younger, and it was those testosterone. So I was like, oh, he closed 7, I gotta close 8. I'm not leaving here till 9 o'clock till I get it.
Yeah,
it was. And we didn't have any client base back then.
Right.
We didn't have any, CRMs or anything to fall back on. And now it's, with anything getting older, it's a little, I won't say a little easier, but just we tweaked it.
Yeah.
We ironed out the wrinkles.
Yeah. And for your younger generation, yes, you used to be able to smoke in the office.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. It was big. It's so great.
And if you didn't smoke, it was weird. You know what I mean? Like if you weren't the smoker, it was like, why aren't you smoking? I'm like, well, because I don't smoke.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. It was a big thing because I smoked cigars still back then. And I was like, all right, if I get to this month, I had agreement, then I could smoke a cigar at my desk. That was the big.
Oh, I dig it.
Big bonus.
A big bonus. Yeah.
Whatever.
Now, was that like a reward system for you that you built in, or was that just?
Yeah. Kind of reward system. Yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember it happening too many times. I just remember one time. So I don't know if I actually followed through with it, but that was kind of the big thing. Yeah. I had the track running, so I was always kind of, not to brag, but I was always kind of at the top, like kind of right away. So
yeah. No, I've always tried to do that with myself too. Is like kind of like just build like a reward system in with yourself, right? Like is like, all right, if I want to buy this thing, whatever this thing may be, but then I'm like, well, I can't until like this closes. Once this closes, then I can buy this thing, right? Like I've always tried to like, it's hard,
for sure,
right? Because now you're just holding yourself accountable.
Yep, for sure.
But it's hard. But it goes back to kind of like your scheduling and doing all those things and making sure that you're doing the right things to move your business forward.
Yep.
Because a lot of times, look, if we're not doing it, it goes back to owning your own business and being an entrepreneur,
yep.
And which all agents and mortgage brokers are, right? Like there's nobody like checking on you.
There's nobody checking, and it's the reward. So I think for me personally, and like you're saying, to all the new do for you, but for me, it's so I used to. I was the 2 o'clock Friday, I'm going golfing. I don't do that anymore. Now I try to. All right, I haven't bet like today. I'm going to go golfing hopefully with a buddy today. So it's try to carve those out. But by knowing the beginning of the week, all right, I'm going to try to take Friday afternoon off. So let's do this, and this, which I would normally, So that's kind of the reward every once in a while. Instead of the purchase thing, or a vacation, right? But so now it's a little bit more of those. We talked to a lot of parents, young parents, like, okay, well, I know that I have to pick my kids up at 3. So my goal is I get done 2:30. My reward is to be able to pick my kids up. And that was it for me too, was a schedule. I coached my sons all growing up, his basketball, his baseball. And that's, again, with our schedule, we could do those things.
Yep.
So that was like, a big part for me is the freedom.
Yeah.
And it is, but there's a lot of Sundays that I work, and there's a lot of Saturdays I work, and I don't, woe is me, because I know there's a lot of people that work 7 days a week, but I think what the public knows, and you guys out there, the agents out there, is how many Saturdays you work a 1 to 4, and or Sunday you're doing an open house from 2 to 5 or whatever the case is. A lot of times you don't get anything out of that. So it's, it's free work, and that's what I try to. I used to almost be ashamed to bring that, but I tell people, listen, your agent that's working for you showed you 18 homes. Guess what? They got to pay for their own gas. They got to pay for.
Yeah.
I know I'm kind of going off on another
No,
thing here,
no.
but to show the value, and I think we're going to get into the 3% stuff, but to show the value of this is what they're doing for you. So I try to tell that to the client. Well, I talked to Jimmy and he couldn't show me the house at 8 o'clock on Saturday. Well, he showed you 10 other homes during the week. He's got dinner with his family. Come on, give him a break. Give him a break here. So I don't know where it's going.
Yeah,
just to show.
No, it's true though, and I think it is true. And I think the one thing that I always say is the more scheduled you are, the more free time you get back.
Well, it's a good way.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because now I know these tasks I got to get done. Right, I gotta get A, B, and C done. If I get that done before 2 o'clock, I'm good. I don't have to, and then I go home with no worries. Right, then I can be out of there with no worries. Like you said, I try to I try to be diligent with my calendar. Even like you said, like, so I have a 13-year-old, so it's like I put his games are in my schedule.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's important for me to be there.
For sure.
So I put his games and stuff in my schedule, right? Like, so it's like if it's there, I know I'm going to be there.
Yep.
My wife also will just throw stuff in my calendar.
Yeah.
I'm like, just put it in there, and I'll be there. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, same. I about 3 years ago, the best advice I got for somebody was use the reminders on your phone, because there are times where it's 7 o'clock and I'm like, okay, I'll remember it. It's like, Jason, did you call or did you? I'm like, no. So Siri set reminder of 8:45 to call Jim Nelson. You know, and it's so easy, and that's stuff that I wouldn't do. And I'm not the most tech guy. I'm not the most, but that is literally, I can't tell you how much that's helped me, because I'm just like, oh, I'll remember it.
Yeah. We're not going to remember it. Just knowing like we're not going to remember that.
I got something to do.
Yeah, we're not going to remember that.
I just little things for the end.
There's too much going on up here,
and how we think, man. Like, it's, I was thinking, like, what's next? What's next? Or what can I do? What can I do? So it's the one little thing that we definitely should be doing: returning a phone call, or locking an interest rate, or whatever the case is. One of those slips through the crack. That's suicide, man.
But you said, you kind of alluded this earlier too. But that's what has made CRM so big, right? Because it is your reminder.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It is your assistant, right? In a sense,
for sure. Yeah, for sure. And it's a great way to, for me, anyways. Because again, past 3 years, really started using it. And I can always do better with it. I need to do better with it. But it's something to go back and say, oh yeah, a client, how are they doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were having a baby. Oh, how's whatever the case is. So just the littlest reminders. So trying to be better at putting people's birthdays in, and those types of things. So it's anyway.
Yeah, it is. The CRMs are important. Putting as much information as you possibly can in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And trying to be diligent with it, because it is super important, because we don't remember everything, and we're not going to,
for sure.
And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and then we get mad because we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but then we get mad because we forgot something. You know what I mean? And that's like, gosh, man, like I'm like, why did I think I could do that?
Right.
Why did I think that was going to actually happen?
Right.
I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do these 20 things today. And I was like, I can do 4. But
actually putting it in there.
Yeah, exactly. Here I am beating myself up over not getting stuff done. And I'm like, well, there was like, if I go back and look at it, like, it wasn't physically possible to happen anyway. Like, it was never going to happen.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we'll dive into the NAR stuff, and I know it's been beat up and it's been talked about and done and all these things, but I kind of wanted to get it from your aspect on the mortgage side, right? Like, and I know you talk to a ton of agents, and I know there's a ton of agents. I think for the most part, though, I think the agents are kind of over it.
I think so too.
I think, and literally the funny thing is, it just really went into fruition on Saturday. This past Saturday it went in, and agents are already over it, like, but there was so much leading up to it. Yeah. So what are you hearing on your side? Like, what are you hearing from the agents? And then what's some advice you're giving the agents on it?
Yeah, I think for us, it's kind of talked about it earlier. I hate to downplay it, but it's business as usual, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
different. I know it's a different conversation for you guys, for the agents to have with the buyers, but from what I'm getting, and again, this is just talks and roundtables or whatever. It's, if you want to buy this house, you have to pay me the 3%. The seller doesn't want to pay it. Do you want to do that? Do you have the money? No, I don't. Then maybe we should look at another home, right? I mean, does that sound?
Yeah, I mean,
basically the gist of it. It's like, okay, well, if you can't, then I can't show you this home. I don't see there being much change. Again, I'm not the end. I mean, just listening to the people that are actually, what they're talking about is a listing agent, to be competitive, is going to pay a buyer's agent's worth. You know what I mean? That we've been on that side of it. It's like, whatever they think that's going to be, whether it's 3% or 2%, whatever the case is. This idea that buyer's agents are going away, I just don't buy into. I don't buy into a 22-year-old first-time home buyer clicking on a button and buying a house without somebody representing them. Somebody walking them through the house. Like, okay, just so you know, this only has one bathroom. The house next door is the same price and it has 1.5, or whatever the case. I don't buy that. Maybe some of it's going to go away and we're going to see. But for you newer agents out there, don't let this run you out of the business.
Yeah.
Right? As I say, it's just a conversation and it will make you better. Now, from what I'm getting from more experienced agents or the agents been doing a while, okay, all right, we'll just have a different conversation.
Yeah,
right. It's like, it's no secret that the real estate agents make a commission, right? So it's
right.
The tough part is telling the client how much you're paying me, because they didn't have to do that before.
Right.
Buying this $300,000 house where you're paying me $9,000.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case is, that didn't have to be done before. Now it has to be done. And you were saying earlier, there's definitely going to be some clients or some new clients that are like balking at it, but also the listing agents selling a house for the seller, right?
Yeah.
Typically that seller is going to be in the market to buy a new house. So if you look at it that way, they're going to have to pay a buyer's agent as well. So it's like, all right, well, do I want to sell this house and give 3%? Because I got to do the same thing. And I don't want to pay 3% on the next house out of my pocket. So I think a lot of that's going to come into play too.
Yeah.
Again, it's a good way to put it, but I do understand for the agents that haven't been doing it, that it's a little nervous. You'll get through it.
Yeah.
You're going to get through it. It's going to be okay. I promise you. And you'll be better for it. So we were talking to agents that haven't been in this a while. This TRID, real quick, back in the day, before 2012 or 2014, whenever. You didn't have to. We didn't have to go over anything. Basically, you sign, mortgage, here, purchase, done, get to the closing table. How much you got to bring? We'll just get the table. We'll tell you.
Yeah.
Or refinance. We told you we were getting this amount. How much am I getting? We'll talk about it at the closing table. TRID stopped all that. Which is great. It needed.
But so it doesn't kill our economy again.
Exactly. So that was the latest. The most recent thing that I could think that we were nervous. Oh my God, I gotta find a new job. I'm not gonna be able to do this. That lasted like 2 months.
Yeah.
That was just like, right? But it was the same conversation. We had to tell the clients, hey, expect to bring about $10,000 to close.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good estimate. We'll have it, 3 days before closing, we'll have the actual final numbers for you. And it's business, Been I probably about 10 years now, 10, 12 years or whatever the case. So, but that was the latest, the most recent mortgage stop, I guess. We were worried
the
about.
Biggest change, right?
The biggest change. Yeah. Now it's
now
do it.
Now
nobody even thinks about it
now
anymore. Nobody even thinks about it.
Yeah. And I think that'll be the same thing. And I think agents that are getting into the business, like right now, that are just getting licensed, getting into it.
Yep.
This isn't even going to be, it's just going to be a thing.
That's a great way to put it.
It's just going to be, you're just going to learn how to do it this way.
Yeah.
And until the next major chain comes. And really, we had our state broker, Nick Kopel, on, and he talked about this, and he was talking about this. He's like, the last time this changed was 1996. So let's think about like this buyer's agency stuff.
Yeah.
Like the last time this change came in, when it changed to like you became a buyer's agent and a listing agent, like when it became separate, was 1996.
Wow, I don't know that.
So like now it's like this is the biggest change since 1996.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Right. And again, it's
And
to
nothing's
me,
changing.
and nothing's changing. And to me, it's just the get over the hurdle to tell your clients how much you're paying me.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
You know, it's not comfortable, but
No.
it's not that uncomfortable.
And the strangest part is agents used to just say, work with me as a buyer. You don't have to pay me. Like, I'm free.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you never were free. You never were free.
For sure. And I've talked to some clients. Okay, well, the house is 300. If I don't pay a buying agent, then I can get the house for $297. Do you know how much a difference it's? It's pennies if you look at it on your payment a month. It's like
right,
or $9,000. It's not that much a month. You're going to be more more upset when you don't use it and something happens and you can't go back to the. If you had a buying agent, they're going to look in the crawl space for you, or whatever they're going to do. Everybody has they're going to make sure that the windows that they said the windows were 10 years old. They're going to make sure they're pretty much 10 years old, or whatever the case is. You buy a house, you don't use a buying agent, your roof stopped leaking, which could happen even if you use a buying agent, and the selling agent says, "Oh no, you're good with it." It's just, I don't know. I guess just to have somebody to represent you.
The one that I always bring up to that is like, if you were getting divorced, would you use the same divorce attorney your wife's using? Well, no, I wouldn't. Well, right. So we're kind of on the same page here, right?
Oh, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like, why would I do that? Like, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, right, exactly. That's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy talk.
Man, I've had that conversation 2 times with 2 different first-time home buyers this week. Well, I'm just going to use, and honestly, even before all this happened, I'm a big advocate of the get somebody to represent you. I've been telling people this for 10 years. You don't, like you just said, you don't want to walk into you don't want that question mark. Like, did the person I bought this house from really have my best interest?
Right.
It's their sellers. I would imagine that you're always going to be in the back of your mind thinking, man, could I have got whatever home inspection or whatever the case is? That's just kind of way. And I'm not, not all listing. There's a million great listing agents. A million, but just the peace of mind that somebody only represented me. I guess that's my my double dipping. Great, everybody. I love all that, but just it's the biggest purchase of your life, especially first time home buyer. You know, it's like, man, do you want to spend $300,000? I want to make sure I want to feel the best about this.
Yeah, I have a client right now that we just put under contract. Just got an offer accepted. Shout out to Sandy. But we got an offer accepted, and but he's a first time home buyer, but he's in his 40s.
Yeah,
but he's a first time home buyer. He's never and panicked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and like literally, like we was Sandy and I worked this together because I'm like he just needs he needs to be walked through this
for sure, and probably even more because it's been
you
get more time to see your friends and family buying a house.
Yeah,
they did this, and maybe this guy foreclosed or they went through divorce and lost out. Now he's had more time to see some of the stuff. Like maybe some of the bad stuff.
Some of the bad stuff.
If you're 22, you don't know anybody that's foreclosed on a house yet,
right?
Probably, you know what I mean?
So, unless it was your parents.
So, which brings me into my notes. James.
Wow, these
are just for show, by the way. These are just for show.
This is where Hill Mortgage swag is.
Yeah.
Right. Here's my Hill Mortgage notebook.
This brings me to my notes. This is my website to buy all my. No, just kidding. So, and I can barely read my notes.
It's the basement on Instagram.
Right, yeah. GoHomeLoans.com. So I didn't realize I was on Barry Habib did a UWM did a.
Oh man, I was there.
Did you listen? Well, yesterday they did. So this.
They did yesterday.
But yeah, he was great.
But I was there when he was back in May. Yeah, it was amazing.
All right, hold on. I'm looking for 17%, 25 to 35 years of age. 17% of them still live at home. So 2 times this has happened. Great Depression in 2010. That's the biggest gap. Usually it was right around 8%. Now it's 17%. This is the highest it's been since then. The good part about that is what he's saying. I'm obviously paraphrasing. He's way smarter than I am. Is once these, because it was, COVID or whatever the case, the following 3 years were 3 of the biggest real estate markets in history. So the good of that is, so you're talking about your friend that's 40-year-old and not necessarily living at home, but it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. So that really, I was like, man, that like 17%, but if you do 17% of 300 million, whatever it is, that's a huge number. So He was kind of trying to frame that as like, all this talk with these rates dropping,
Yeah.
accompanied with there's adult first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
There's more adult first-time home buyers.
So it was 25 to 35?
25, years age. Yeah.
25 to 35
Still
years
living
old.
at home.
17% of them are still living at home.
17% or something. Yeah.
Huh.
So it was a huge number. Yeah.
That is a huge.
So,
I mean, that's. I know 17% doesn't sound
not
like
renting,
a lot, but
not renting, not
just
living at home.
Yeah.
Living at, with
that. Yeah,
living with
doesn't count our
family.
renters, right?
Yeah.
Or apartments.
That doesn't count the, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's for some of the newer agents, the newer lenders, you really are getting a great time.
Yeah,
you really are, because this is the first 21 years. Is the first time I can remember where we know interest rates are going to drop. I mean, anything could happen. There's crisis, whatever the case. But even after 2008, 2009, which I was in it, I stuck through it. We didn't know rates were going to drop. They did.
Yeah,
we didn't know. We thought we were in trouble then.
Yeah.
So
and so we're thinking. Right,
Yep.
we're forecasting.
Yep, forecasting. Yep.
That mid to late September, probably.
You're saying the election, election. So, forecasting is a great word. Nobody can guarantee it, but it looks good.
Yeah.
And I'm a lender, and rates had to go up. Yeah,
they had to.
They had to. It was the 3.5s, the 2.5s. It's just
like we can't what a lot of people don't understand is like that 2.5. You heard people with lower than a 2.5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like interest rate.
Look at 1.99.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Good, and
our economy can't sustain that.
100%.
It just can't.
100%. Yep. No, and it's but those were just like teaser rates. It's if you got in that time, great. But we had to do
special
something
today only.
People stop buying houses. I think people stop buying houses. That's huge for the economy.
Yeah.
People buy houses. They go to Home Depot. They buy. And it's. I mean, that's the number. You can do all the math on it or do all the reading you want on it. But people have to buy homes, and the government knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can do all the reading and stuff on it, or you can listen to a guy like Barry and just take
100%. Yeah. No, he's great. Yeah,
let him do all the studying and reading, and just tell you what the thing is.
It was great.
Because I think one of the most interesting things he said back in May, which led us to come up with some really good scripts as far as like, overcome that rate objection of I'm just going to stay in my house right now because I'm at a 2%, right? Why would I sell right now and go to a 6? Well, because you're losing out on all this equity you're going to get in the next house.
For sure. Yep.
Right. You've already built up the equity in this one. 100%. Now it's time to move to the next one.
100%. And that's where he was going with that 17% is like, listen, if you think you're going to wait, there's 30 million people that are about to be in the market to buy a house. What's that going to do? That house that you like for 300,000 this time, yes, it's probably going to be worth. It's going to sell for 335.
Yeah.
So if you think your 8th interest rate or your quarter interest rate is worth waiting to pay another $35,000 for a home that you could have got, and you can always get out of the interest rate.
Just do the
always
math.
Refinance.
Yeah.
You can always, you can always refinance. And I try to. My tip on that is I try to bring it to a family level. Like you'll never remember if you I didn't buy that house because the rate was a quarter point too high. In 8 years you'll never remember that, but you will remember when you drive by and like, oh, that family bought it. Oh, they put a swing set there. That could have been my kids. That could have been me with my kids. Why didn't I buy that house? You'll never remember that.
Yeah.
And it's so.
One of the other things he brought up too back in May was, and this is looking at that number is really crazy. And people who are saying right now they don't want to do this, right? But he said for every 1 point, the rate comes down, 5 million buyers come in the market.
Yeah. And I jump on that too. And it's even the conversation. So 2 weeks ago, rates dropped, so we can focus. That's already built in. Like they, they didn't drop that much. They didn't drop where you would notice it. Just kind of want to tell them, yes, they dropped a little bit. And I love the conversation because it gets our phones ringing, right? But they didn't drop where you're like, oh my God, now I can afford that house. It's just a little bit better. And really what drops is the price of that rate. So if, whatever, 7% was costing a half a point, well, now it only costs 3/8. And that's just, I'm just, using that as an example. But, I heard they dropped. What are they at now? 5 1/4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
How much you want to spend?
Right. How much you want to pay? Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, you want to get a 2%, we can do that. It's just going to cost you a lot of money.
Exactly. Yeah. And just, sound salesy, but if you love the house, buy it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you can afford it, if you're not, and I get it. And I'll tell you, we're all roughly an eighth, 3/8 within each other on interest rate. So, you know, love for you to use us, but you shop around. Shop around.
Yeah.
Somebody will give you a lower rate, but sometimes you know the saying. Sometimes you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're a first time home buyer and you want to talk to your lender on a Sunday morning. Make sure you got a lender that's going to answer the phone.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of them don't. A lot of them, it's a 9 to 5 job for them. You know, and again, I'm a big advocate of the brokers. If you, whatever area you guys are in, I know you guys are all across the country. Find your nearest mortgage broker and at least have a conversation with them. You know, not the big banks that they don't. It's great people out there, but mortgage brokers typically, for the most part, can answer the phones.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't have an office there. They don't. You know, they're not tied to it.
Right. And for us as realtors, like Saturdays and Sundays are our jam because we're out showing houses, open
100%.
houses. Like we're running and ripping on the weekends. And if I can't get a hold of, Joe Schmo at X Bank, because it's Saturday, like
we get, and there's family time, but and that's why I tell them, hey, if you call me, I might not answer, but you're going to get a call back from me soon or a text. Hey, I'm at whatever. We went to the movies last time. I'm at the movies with the kids. Call you back. You know, give me a call tomorrow. Or I'll call you tomorrow.
And again, if it's 10 o'clock at night, nothing's happening anyway. So relax.
Got to get it in. Right? I got to get in. I promise you, the listing agent's not.
Nobody's
not finals and best at midnight.
No, nobody's. That time limit you put on at midnight, nobody's even looking at it. Nobody's looking at that thing at midnight.
Yeah,
so I tell agents too. Agents, and you probably feel the same way with mortgage guys, right? Like I'm a 24/7. I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah,
stop saying it.
Right.
Like, no, I am. I'm like, if I called you at 3 a.m. on Tuesday, are you going to answer?
Sure. Exactly, one ring. Yeah.
No.
Panic.
Yeah, right. You're not going to answer.
Same thing. I'm like, I call it. You're more than welcome to call me at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You're welcome to text me at 3 a.m. You're going to get a call back.
Yeah. You're going to get
about 9:30.
Yeah.
About 9:30 or so. You know what I mean? So.
After I call everybody else back, they called before you.
Right. Yeah, I'll be after I call my 2 a.m. call. They called me at 2 a.m.
But man, so all right. So you've been in the business for over 20 years.
Yep.
Right. You started when you were 10.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Good.
So I butter everybody up, especially guys that can bring me gifts.
Right. Exactly.
But knowing what you know now, what would you do different starting out again?
It's simple. Don't be afraid. Call. I cold call. Listen, and I know you did your call. Like it's nobody likes to cold call. There's a few. Nobody likes to cold call. Not even starting. If I'd have known this 8 years ago, it's just. It sounds so. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game, and it's you don't realize it, but it's practice. The more no's you get, that's just one more no closer to a yes. You know what I mean? It's just it's.
So good. So good, man.
Listen, and I have my bad days too. You know, I don't want, but it's just practice. If you look, I mean, how many at bats is that? You know, and you don't know who's on. It was kind of what I was saying earlier. Like I'm always surprised, even now. Like I get in my head, so I call this person, and when they, I've heard about. I'm always surprised, like how nice they are on the other. Like I'm always expecting. Come on, bro. Don't call. I mean, all right, no, thanks. You know, no thanks. Not everybody's a yes, but it's usually a polite thank you. I'll let you know if I need anything or something along those lines. And who likes to get told no, but it hardens the shell. You know, if that makes sense. And
I mean, typically for the most part, like I said, you're gonna come across the jerk that's like, I don't want you to call me anymore. Okay, I won't.
Yeah, right.
Are you still looking for a house? Like, how long is it going to be?
Right. So on those ones, like, and it's very far, few between. So on those ones, if they call, and that's what I've been doing the past year is, listen, man, I get more lenders call me. Don't call, So then when I hang up, then I handwrite a thank you card. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me on the phone. Put my card in there, but
I love it. I love that.
Yep.
Did you bring a card with you too, by the way? Look, guys, listen. One of the best marketing things I've ever seen in my life is Jason's card. Now we're gonna try to show it. We'll try to show it on camera, but I will post it on the Facebook page. I know you can't really see it, but I'm gonna take a picture of this and I'm gonna put it on the Elite Real Estate Podcast page. But what grade is this?
So it's either my preschool or kindergarten picture. Like it's one of the two.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's your kindergarten picture, and if you can't see it, and for those of you that are listening to us later, go find the Elite Podcast, the Elite Real Estate Podcast on Facebook, and I'm going to post this in there because
it's a talking piece. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I've always, because you've had these for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I've brought this up on the show before.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I've talked about this a bunch because it's like your kindergarten, but you've got a tie on and a sweater vest.
Yeah, I said the original when I did it was, I can't remember, something to the effect of dressed to write your mortgage since 1980 or something like that. It was something like those lines. It was something along those lines.
Oh, man, dude, I love it. It's so good. And it's like you said, it's a talking piece, right? Like it's a
try to be memorable. Yeah, right,
yeah,
exactly. Especially in ours, and with you guys with the hire, with the hustle and the bustle, it's just one thing to try to stand out.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got you.
Yeah. So this one, I forgot it was headsets. I was going to wear this for the whole podcast.
Yeah.
But headsets, so yeah.
Yeah.
No mortgage.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jill Byrne, #1 processor in the world. She's also a great cricketer. I don't know what these are called. She made this for us.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
Oh man. Like, guys, listen, Jason, you just showed up with stuff today. Like your hat, clothes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's
yeah.
It's trying to
you want to come on next week?
That's gonna be a Corvette, 2024 Corvette.
Let's see what else we can bring. What you show up with next week?
I'm just kidding, Respa.
Just jokes.
So yeah, and again, the newer, or if you're struggling, just when you get that yes that you didn't think you had a shot in the world. This is the best sales movie ever. Is Tommy Boy to me. So if we remember, if we remember this scene when he's talking about trying to get the shrimp, and could you throw the fryer on? And she says no, and he goes to David Spade. He's like, doesn't matter. I got the meat lovers in the trunk anyways. That's his pipeline. He's like, if I didn't get that real estate agent, I got 4 other ones. So if you think of it that way, so whatever your goal is, if your goal is to do 3 transactions a month and you're at 2. Get yourself built up. Like if I get that next one, then the rest of it is gravy for me. Then you're going to find yourself more loose. You're going to find yourself, getting outside your box.
You play better relaxed.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
you play better relaxed. And
sure.
and I think to your point, it's sometimes it is. And the hardest call to make is the first one.
Yeah. Whether it's, believe it or not, I'm not a morning person. So I got the AM and the PM mixed up on this one. But for me, I don't call first thing in the morning because I know I'm not at my best. So my first one, let's call it at, Tuesdays are our call days. So Tuesdays we do our team call or our team meeting and then our calls day. So that's typically, we start getting on the phone probably about 11 after our meeting. So for me, the hardest first call, the hardest call of the day is that first one because it's just getting my day started now. But also if it's your first one ever, of course, that's gonna be.
Yeah,
I promise you, your 10th one's gonna be a lot easier.
Yeah, and just start with one.
Going to be your 100th one's gonna be.
Yeah,
and try to find a common ground. So it call in your area. Oh, my kids went to. Oh, I see you live by Lincoln High School.
Yeah.
My kids went to Lincoln.
Yeah,
and that's just find some sort of common ground.
Yeah.
For a friend on the phone.
Yeah, So Jill wrote in and said, "Thanks for the shout out," and she said, "You're doing great."
She's Liz. Hi, Jill.
Yeah, and she said you're doing great. So,
thank you.
But yeah, man, as we're gonna wrap up here, but man, so this hour goes quick. Like most people,
I looked at the first. Yeah. It was like, first of all, I don't know if you can see it. He doesn't have any notes. Like this is all you're blowing my mind here. Like these are just questions that you're just. Right off the top here.
It's what
I looked at it. Is this the little timer here?
Yeah.
An hour?
Yeah.
I looked at it, asked a couple questions, like 2.5 minutes. I'm like, man, we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about, and we're about to hit an hour. Like this is awesome, man. So good.
Yeah, man. It goes by fast.
It does. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
definitely gonna have you back on again.
Oh, I
will put this out.
Yeah,
this will be on the Facebook page today. So that'll get out there. But I appreciate the gifts, man. I appreciate you coming out and having us, and we're gonna have you back on for sure. So
I look forward to it. All right, buddy. Have a great weekend.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching the Elite Real Estate Podcast. We'll see you next Friday.